We tried doing things like getting guest speakers, finding the most interesting people and interviewing them, analyzing Southeast Asia ecosystem. The whole point of the podcast was to have a lot of fun, but it was getting to a point that you actually have to commit. I'm voting we just, call it a day.
I definitely feel bittersweet about it. This gave us a cadence to hang out and meet with each other. This podcast is going to be a time capsule of a moment where we lived a certain existence, and now that moment is past and we're moving on to other things.
What I'm now doing, which I'd never done before, is I'm actually writing pieces on LinkedIn and publishing them about my opinions. But I don't think I ever would have had the courage to do that if I had not actually done this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 25th episode of the Unreasonable Podcast.
Jeez.
Featuring Hien, Open Space Ventures, Michael Blakey, Angel Investor of the Year of the UK, and the one and only 500 startups. Global.
Don't be an asshole.
It's just 500.
It's just 500.
That's true.
Vishal Harnal. And to celebrate our 25th episode, we are making this the last episode. That's right. We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And
so, Ian, why don't you tell us why we're not doing this? I think this is a Ian question that we've got to actually ask.
I mean, I told you guys, what we're going to do. We've had so many long conversations about what this podcast is all about. So let's go back to the abstraction level, right? So I just looked at the 25 episodes. And the first episode we did was in October 2021. So that's almost like 4 years ago. And we did it at the height of COVID. And it was really a way for all of us to come together and try something new, try some new skills.
I'm sorry, I can't believe it was 2021. I didn't realize we started this 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That is...
Well, the idea was formed by you guys as we were... Well, somebody was half snoozing in and out of our conversation when we were sitting in your apartment.
Yes, that's right. The genesis was at my
place. Was at your place, and we were talking about your black walls. And how they became
your friends,
black.
The people who come over to play with you.
Oh, you mean the black light?
Yeah. The black walls.
The black wall that you had your walls painted.
Yeah, you really want us to be more specific about it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it was from that conversation after Ian woke up from his old man nap that we decided that we had to have some reason to all get together.
I forgot about that reference. I think people who know me very, very well would probably know that story of the black wall. But besides that,
it's been 4 years. You got to do something new after 4 years.
It's true.
Right?
4 years is a long time. This is episode 25, but we had so many other episodes in between that got cancelled or we didn't publish because either you, Hien, threw a hissy fit.
Yeah.
Or Michael Blakey just did not prepare at all for them, and so the episodes.
But it wasn't Vishal's fault, though.
But it was
never Vishal's fault.
Vishal was perfect.
Perfect. I'm not saying that, but if that's the conclusion that you want to draw, I'm more than happy for it to.
Is it because you put on all that makeup?
I have no makeup.
And then you were kind of upset that
Okay.
After being in the makeup for like 60 minutes.
Okay, I take back my comment before we started rolling that I cannot be roasted. Obviously, there's a lot of material you have.
Yeah.
We've been listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you agree with Hien that that's kind of like the genesis for doing this?
No, I think
reasons why.
I think for me, you're two of my best friends, and I enjoy our conversations. And one of the things that I love about it, and especially in the world that we're in now, we have very different ways of looking at investing and very different outlooks on the world. But you can have the friendship there, and we can have like really good debates, but not actually ever take anything personal. And I don't think, and especially when it comes to investing, I don't think it is a right or wrong. It's just a different viewpoint. And I enjoy having those conversations, and I learn a lot from you two. So for me, I just wanted an excuse to kind of get together, however it was. And you guys came up with this idea, and I was like, as long as I don't have to do anything, I'm more than happy to turn up.
That's exactly right.
And he lived by it because he literally never did anything. So it's great. I'm just kidding.
A year later, after we got all excited because clearly other people were starting to do podcasts and everyone in the industry in Southeast Asia started having a podcast, we sat down a year later and we redefined the relationship. So talk us through that, right, Vishal?
I remember wanting to get into this and starting this entire thing because our conversations were always very enjoyable. You're two of my best and closest friends. And B, I think we were kind of ready to experiment with a new way of doing things, right? And kind of bring other people into our conversations because we were limited by how many people we could hang out with during COVID.
Yeah.
Remember, the restriction was 2 before it became 5. We were like, let's just open up our living room conversations and invite a whole bunch of people inside. And we kind of did that through the podcast. And it was fun. We had a great time recording those, a lot of fun. There was a lot of banter. In fact, most of the podcast was us riffing off each other and making fun of each other while discussing pressing issues of the day and in the Southeast Asian ecosystem and in venture and in life in general. And I remember a year later, we tried to redefine it, right?
Yeah.
And redefine the relationship and say, hey, we seem to be getting a lot of positive feedback from this podcast. And there are thousands of people who are listening into what we are saying, messaging us, accosting us in supermarkets with comments about about their viewpoints on what we've said. Let's try and scale this up and see if we can build it into something bigger.
That's right.
But we decided to stick to the original theme of 3 friends just getting together and having those conversations instead.
It wasn't for a lack of trying, right?
It wasn't for a lot. Well,
we did.
no, I don't think we did. I don't think we wanted to try. We felt that putting in more effort into it may make it less enjoyable for all of us. And we weren't in the space where we wanted to become full-time podcasters.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
It's
right.
just something we wanted to do for fun, come together, talk about a few things. And that's the spirit that we maintained.
So for the viewers, just so they know, right? Because I'm sure we're going to have a couple of people go like, you got to be kidding me. You're not doing this anymore. We're like, yep. We tried doing things like getting guest speakers. We had
That's
Tom Wright,
That's right.
which was really good. We had Cameron, who was Exited founder, Darius, we had Gwen, we had a few people. The podcast could just end up being finding the most interesting people and interviewing them. But I feel like there's so many of those. If it's sort of just analyzing Southeast Asia ecosystem, it's only so much you can analyze it, and then that's it. I mean, I think the whole point of the podcast was to have a lot of fun, but it was getting to a point that you actually have to commit. And I think after 25 episodes, either we commit or we don't. I'm voting we just, call it a day. It's been a great ride. If you want to see Vishal, there'll be other people who do podcasts and their views and stuff like that. And we go off and figure something else out. That's why I personally think it's done. I like the fact that The Office only had like 6 episodes or 7 episodes, right? The only person who gets the get out of jail free card, in my opinion, is South Park on season 27 when they're going after Donald Trump, right? We're not, that's impressive. But there was only 8 episodes or 6 episodes of The Office, and Ricky Gervais was always very clear about it. It was like, that's all we've got.
Mike, what was your takeaway on closing this and why you think it's ready to be ended?
Well, I think it got to a point. I mean, for me, if we wanted to take it to the next level, all 3 of us had to actually commit.
Right.
Like we've always talked about, we've got to do it like on a monthly or put that. But when it came to, we experimented doing it remotely and that didn't work.
Yeah, that didn't work.
We did different experiments. So if one of us can't make it, we'll get a talker in, but then it just didn't feel the same. It kind of took away from, it's meant to be 3 buddies sitting around a table. I've really enjoyed the time. I've enjoyed the conversations. I think more importantly, I didn't realize this, but I think I was scared about sharing my opinion openly. Like I'm very opinionated.
Wow.
When I talk to you guys, I say, this is what I think, this is what I think. But I've always been scared of actually putting it out there for other people. I've been worried about what the comments are.
Yeah.
So
Where do you think that comes from?
I honestly don't know. But what's
he doesn't
weird,
have the ability to be politically correct like you.
Am I politically correct?
yes,
Yes.
okay. yes,
Yes.
without a doubt.
Yes.
If
At
probably
least online.
Probably the 2 of us have been cut. What people don't understand is that for every minute that we publish, there's probably like 5 minutes that we cut, including whole episodes. Quite often, because I can't even give examples of the times I was cut. What I'm now doing, which I'd never done before, is I'm actually writing pieces on LinkedIn and publishing them about my opinions. But I don't think I ever would have had the courage to do that
Had you not gone
if
to
I
a
had not
podcast.
actually done
Hey,
this.
those pieces are great. I love reading them.
Okay.
So good on you for getting over that fear and
I've
going out
got
there.
to say thanks, ChatGPT. good on you. It's like with my dyslexia, writing
By the way,
anything.
nobody
could
else
tell-
is using ChatGPT.
It's
Everyone
like
handwrites
Claude and-
every
that's right.
single word.
No, but
Yeah.
I could tell it was ChatGPT and not you because of how brief the articles were.
Yes.
No, how
and
well
how to the
structured.
point
How well
and
structured.
how to the point they were. I was like, wow, it's from Michael, but it's not from Michael. This is amazing.
Yeah, no,
So
it's-
happy.
The amount of training material we've had to put into ChatGPT to make it sound like even remotely like me is quite incredible. You know, but no,
It's still not getting there. There are not enough tokens in the world that can, fund that.
no.
For sure.
For
How
me-
do you feel about closing the chapter?
Well, bittersweet. I definitely feel bittersweet about it. First, I do think that the remote episode experiments worked really well. I thought that episode that we did remotely on Riverside was awesome. Like, I think it was one of the best episodes we actually recorded. But I think what detracted away from it was our experience,
Yeah, it
which is
wasn't-
just hanging out together. That was the different part. But I felt the episode itself was very, very good.
Didn't
So-
feel like work?
No, not really. I mean, I was in Seoul. I remember when
yeah.
I recorded that episode. I was wearing like a scarf and sunglasses, and I just logged into Riverside, and we just went off with it, and it was kind of like a lot of fun.
Okay.
But it's bittersweet because I feel this gave us a cadence to hang out and meet with each other, which is not anyway happening as often as it used to. For me, I think that it happened in a point in time when we got to see each other a lot, which is COVID, and we were locked down and we weren't traveling very much. And so this was kind of like a fun activity to engage in. But when the world started opening up and our travel schedule started to get busier and busier, and we started to be away, I've been away for 3 months before the last week, it just got hard to do logistically. And so I think the logistics is one very, very big part of why this is being sunsetted. And to be honest, I think if you zoom out a little bit, and if I'm being really honest with myself, I think that is just a symptom of something deeper, which is I don't think each of us cares enough about it to keep it going. That's really what it is. Because if we did, we'd find a way to keep it going. And I think we've got other things that we want to work out, other things that are more important to us right now, new things that have caught our attention, other priorities that life has thrown us. And so this podcast is going to be a time capsule of a moment or moments where
There
we
you go.
lived a certain existence, and now that
Exactly
moment
right.
is past and we're moving on to other things.
And you look at it's almost like an arms race of podcasts where people go, oh, we have to do it once a week, everything, and we've got to get bigger and better guests.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, you know what, let's just be a time capsule.
I do think that the ecosystem needs a podcast like this, because if you look at most of the podcasts out there, it's either self-promotion or it is a whole bunch of interviews, which is about self-promotion. It's not delving into some of the issues. I think one of the frustrations I had is we've done had some really interesting discussions, which have been cut and kind of chucked on because it's either too controversial or because we're still active GPs of funds. If we got to that stage where we're no longer GPs of funds,
We'll reactivate the podcast.
We'll reactivate.
I would reactivate the podcast.
There are so many things
that's true.
I would love
Oh my
to
God,
say.
I'm really frustrated with that whole process, right? Like that one episode where it got completely
I
just
know.
dished,
I
You
know.
know.
kapoofed.
I know.
That's where sometimes but I do think somebody needs to actually call attention to a lot of the bullshit that's out there.
Yeah,
We're kind of ring fenced in terms of how far we could actually go.
yeah.
I don't think there's enough people that are talking about like Southeast Asia. And if we look about
There are
where,
not enough people who are Southeast Asia insiders talking about Southeast Asia
Yeah.
that actually have a lot of asymmetric information about the situation
Yeah.
and is able to talk about it. And we tried our best. And I thought that was a very difficult balancing point for the podcast. No, until today, I still also sometimes kind of look at some comments and I say, I wish that person actually knew the truth. It wouldn't
Yep.
be like that. And on the other hand, we can't really say that much, right? Because funds are getting bigger, impacts are getting greater, companies are getting listed. Like I can't comment about listed companies, and some of our companies are getting listed.
I don't know about the two of you, but my interests have always been, I do invest in Southeast Asia, and I run funds that invest in Southeast Asia, but what I do is a lot broader than that. So the variety of my interests, like I think Southeast Asia is just one
Your day job.
small part of it.
Your day
Not
job.
even as part of my day job, it's a small part of my day job, right? Well, not small, but it's it's a part of my day job that is a lot wider than just that. And so having something that can be more all encompassing of the full breadth of that experience and drawing it in, I think I wish we had a platform to do that. And it resonates with me what you said as well about being able to air your opinions very openly. The truth is and as much as I like making fun of Hien and as much as I like making fun of Michael Blakey, I can't talk about a lot of stuff that I would like to talk about and say. So probably I feel my best opinions are when it's off camera or it's been cut out of the episodes versus what actually makes it on script because of the nature of what.
Although I still maintain you and Michael and I have a higher cut ratio than you do.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Definitely a higher cut ratio. Oh, please.
As in you guys get.
And then the only time you get cut is because we trigger you to say something off-piste.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Hien and I just go straight out.
We just go straight, like, where are the trees? Let's just go. And Vishal's like, it's like, Do you think it's your legal training?
No, absolutely not. Wait. Let me think about that. Maybe a little bit. I'm gonna say this and I'm not gonna say this and sound like an asshole, right? And I think I'm just a lot more familiar with this sort of financial media. And what you can and cannot say.
Yeah.
Just in general.
I have a different viewpoint though.
Yeah. So
I am pretty sure that I know the reason why you are better than him. You want to become a politician. You are so like. I mean, when I talk about politically correct, it's because you're going to become a politician.
So I'm gonna put first. Those are dangerous words that we are 100% cutting out of this podcast.
Holland,
I don't want anyone to even have
are you the
a
new
remote
Vivian Balakrishnan? Is that what you are?
I absolutely do
we
not
always
want.
need that Vivian
all
Balakrishnan.
this is getting cut. All this is getting cut. I do not want to be a politician. I have
We're
no
now
hopes
announcing
of being a
Vishal's
politician.
campaign for the next general election.
I will do my first donation.
First off, I have no hopes.
People's Action Party, by the way.
No dreams. I have no interest in being a politician. Second, if anyone knew even an iota about my life, you would know that I am a walking time bomb liability of a person to be a part of any political party.
Black?
So okay.
You only know that it's true once people vehemently deny it.
I did not know. It's just not happening. Okay.
We got you again.
Dated references
Gen
X and Z listeners are not going to get. But anyway.
Off the top of your mind, although I do have the list in front of me, which were the best episodes? While you guys are thinking, I'm gonna message. You can go look at your Spotify list, right?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I'll start the first one.
Okay.
Remember the episode where you talked about the difficulties of being a founder and
that
then
was
how
so good.
One of your founders unfortunately took his life, and then I went through a divorce, and Vishal had a bad hair day, which was really tough for him, right?
Yeah.
Because these three things are of equal
I'm gonna let that
importance. I thought that was a great episode.
That was a very good episode.
That was actually
people
the episode.
thought it was a great episode.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the episode when people come up and talk to me and actually say mental health is the thing that I think actually has impacted a lot of people. And I think the other one was when we're talking about what we are actually looking for in founders.
Yeah.
I think from the founder's point of view, some of the ones I've talked to who listened to that said it's just really interesting how the three of us kind of looking and expecting different things out of founders, and they just realize that you can't make everybody, you're not going to be a fit for everybody.
Yeah.
And I still firmly believe it's about building a relationship.
Yeah.
So I think those were the two episodes. But I also think the first one, I was shitting bricks doing it. I was really, really, really worried about doing a podcast and how people would react to it. Because it was so far, because you've come from a media background.
No.
So I was like, shit.
No. That was episode 6.
Okay.
Right? For everybody, that's episode 6. Look, I'll reassure you that me talking about my divorce, that was a place that is also nerve-wracking when you think about it, right? But I think it was important for people not to just think that it's always good or it's not difficult, right?
Yeah.
That's why episode 6 resonated. So many people came up to me. Especially episode 6. Bought you enough time to go think about it. You were playing. Which episode did you like?
No, Mike, what about you?
No, I was actually...
He always does this.
I'm just...
As I said, the
ladies first.
The two episodes were definitely the mental health one. I also enjoyed hearing the conversation of your fundraise and the journey that that you went on, because it's so easy to forget, especially as I try and keep my fundraising for the new funds as far apart as possible. So I'm not always fundraising. But I think sometimes founders forget that we as VCs have to fundraise ourselves. So when we're giving them advice, quite often it is on the back of some of the trauma that we've had to actually go through raising our first fund or the second fund. Hopefully it gets easier over time. It's kind of hard because I've got to also admit, as I think you know, the audience might know, I think I have the world's most annoying voice. I have never actually listened to one of our episodes.
I don't-
I actually get my wife to do
actually
it.
thinks you've got the best voice of all three of us.
Yes.
You have like a baritone resonance, right?
Let us put this to
Yeah.
rest once and for all. Hien has the most annoying voice.
I have the most
You
annoying voice.
are great.
You've got the
Thank you, but no, I think I don't know about you. Do you like listening to yourself talk? Well, Ian does, yes. Vishal, what about you?
You are
Nobody
you
does.
just asked
I know that's
Hien
like,
Nobody
that's
does.
a
whether
stupid
he
question.
likes listening
No,
to himself
it's
talk.
a technical
He
thing.
refers to himself as the third in the third person most of the time. So
Hien's not happy.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
No, there's a technical thing. We're doing Asian Food Channel. What you hear as a human being goes through like your bone and skeleton. So you literally sound different from what you
Yeah.
actually are. So it's just always very jarring. I've gotten used to the fact that when I listen to myself, it's completely different from what I sound. So
I've got to say, so when people say, "Oh, which are the episodes?" I've actually got to go back to the actual conversations, and as I said, we've cut so much out of it. I don't actually know what has been published and what's actually been cut out.
My favorite part of the episodes that we recorded, I know I'm not answering a question and pinning it down to a specific episode,
Politician.
is
Holland Village GRC.
okay, guys. Okay, we really have to cut that out. We really have to cut that out. Just making a note for the editors right there. I loved when we would gather for a meal before recording a podcast. Like when Hien, you would cook in the open space kitchen. We'd sit down.
That's true. We don't.
We'd
We,
have a
we can't. We
conversation.
can't do that here. We don't.
We talk about the episode.
Yeah.
I loved that. Like I felt like that the coming into that space and like dining together and then walking in the
was a
room, having
mission.
had like a mission, right? Like a full belly and a glass of wine ready to go. It was an awesome experience. And I miss that a lot.
Shit.
I miss that a lot.
That's true.
Yeah.
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 Those were the highlight moments, and what we actually recorded and the actual episodes mattered a little bit less to me. If I were to say what were the most enjoyable ones to record that I would truly look forward to and have a good laugh over, they were always the prediction episodes.
I was just going to
Which
say.
were so funny. Which was so funny because all we had to do, actually, I'm just going to speak for myself, is just take a counter position to Hien.
But remember, Hien spoke to the 50 smartest people that he knew, which didn't include us.
And turns out that Hien and the
and his
50 smartest people were all wrong.
It's kind of like
Hien.
That
We
was
love
not
you,
That was a
Hien.
good one.
That was not
That
my
was a good
finest
one.
moment. But our finest moment, I think, was when we captured and got the current chairman of SGX, Koh Boon Hui.
I was surprised you didn't say that as your favorite episode because you were on the verge of tears.
I'm such a fanboy of
Yes.
of Mr. Koh. I mean, like, I'm just going to say that.
So I'm going to share this story with our listeners because they deserve to hear this story.
Yeah.
This episode with Koh Boon Hui was recorded at Hien's open space office. Now, every episode that we had recorded at that office, Hien would prepare an amazing dinner for us or have like excellent food prepared in his kitchen. We would eat, we would drink, and it's just us. It's just the three of us plus, Felicia and Freddie and the rest of the team that's there. On this one day when he has his idol as the guest on the show, Hien decides to order in really cold and not great tasting Greek food for this particular recording. And it was, it just didn't taste great, right? I can't remember what restaurant it was. It doesn't really matter. And we asked Hien, why did you order this? In fact, when we asked you directly, why did you order
Sarah, I
this?
can't remember this.
And you said you had no time to cook because...
Please
Do you remember what you said?
No.
You went to get your face lasered before the episode.
Oh, yeah. I went and got my face resumed that day. And then
there was just silence.
And then Bowie goes, what is a laser?
Yeah. That was a
Oh, boy.
moment that I'm sad did not make it into real, but can now live
Oh
on forever.
my God, this is
Hien
true.
and his aesthetic treatments.
For the record, there would have been a construct where the Unreasonable Podcast went and spoke to really incredible people.
Yeah.
Like, Ko Boon Hui.
Yep.
I would say like Ho Kwan Ping.
Yep.
I would
great.
totally do a thing with Ho Kwan Ping and various other people. But
You are talking about a podcast episode.
yeah, but then of course, here's the other thing. And the reason why, what I really want to do is to find people who don't usually do podcasts, but
Right.
have very unique historical perspectives, especially about Singapore, right? Or ASEAN, and then bring them on. And that was the thing about Ko Boon Hui, because the other episode had so many people from very high up in the echelon going, I've never heard Ko
This guy
Boon Hui's
speak. Yeah, I
full
remember
story
that.
about how he, was
It
an
had a great
MD
listenership.
at Hewlett Packard and stuff like that. And we unearthed some really insightful things. So I just like that. And there would have been, if we all became professional podcasters or whatever, that's worth doing. And so I thought, man, of all the 25 episodes, like that's kind of like the standard. I was either you commit to doing that at that level or kind of call it a day.
True.
But
Because it's really good.
Can I ask you a question though? Of all the episodes, what is the most unreasonable thing that you've heard on the podcast?
Well, Felicia needs to share while I think about that.
Thanks, Michael, for the late question
Okay,
suggestion.
I got one, but Felicia.
Yeah, I like the fact that Ko Boon Hui actually did his first podcast recording with us, right? And it's also in parallel to the fact that like this is all of your first time launching a podcast, and I like the fact that this platform created a lot of first, right? It helped Michael get more confident at putting out LinkedIn posts.
Come
Yeah. Felicia, you can come over
to the
here.
camera.
Come over here. Come over here. Felicia does not want to be seen on screen. She's like, I'm not sure I want to associate myself with this podcast.
Which is true. Thank you, Felicia.
Because Felicia might actually run for office.
That was his first podcast he's ever done.
It was. It
Yeah.
was, which is wild. If we were to do this all over again, what would you do differently?
Nothing. I mean, I've always maintained that we either double down or we call it a day. I actually enjoyed the fact that for 4 years I get to meet my best friends, right? And we did some things, and I think I really enjoyed the fact that there was no pressure to actually, I don't know, have many views or whatever, or that people actually were listening, right? There's no pressure. And I remember when we started early on, I got feedback from people going, I don't know, man, you guys seem to be all over the place. Like, what's your audience? Who is your audience? And I go like, there is no audience. We're just putting it out there. And that's why I think if we let it go for another 25 episodes, we have to start really zoning in. We have to choose a path. Like, are we just going to talk all about Southeast Asia, or give 10 tips about founders and the one thing that you really need to do that you didn't do, and then have Instagram shorts? Or you go into the other pathway, which is to go and find, Mr. Ko, all these other very, very insightful people, and then do it professionally. By definition, I can't see how people would just look and go like, you guys just kind of very self-indulgently are still going at episode 50. Like the self-indulgence of just doing it for the purity of it ends now at 25 episodes.
I have a different view. on that.
Are you saying he's being unreasonable?
No, I don't think that's unreasonable at all. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. That's a very reasonable view. But I think there's a third way, which is one of the things that started to get to me, especially in the later episodes recordings, were that it started to become a task on the list that needed to be done, as opposed to an enjoyable reunion of friends coming together and recording something. Yeah. And I think that's because of two things. The first is we stopped the social nature of our gatherings, which is we'd come, record, and leave, as opposed to come, dine, chat, hang out, maybe stay back for a bit, hang out in Hien's private office, And that was an enjoyable part of the entire experience. And so once that stopped, it just started becoming a little bit more task-like. The second thing is that I think we got afraid of speaking about things that were on our minds or issues that were on our minds because we didn't think it would fit in the rubric of the podcast. So we were like, okay, we've got to talk about Southeast Asia, founders, VCs.
Yeah,
That's the
structure.
gambit. There's got to be something about this, and that's the direction we have to go. Maybe there's a random thing about international politics sometimes, but those episodes almost always got canceled, or some international affairs thing. So what I would do differently is that I would have kept very much and encourage anyone who's doing these things. And if you're doing it like recreationally with friends, keep a social aspect of it strong. So that remains consistent. And the second one is, don't be tied to a strict formula for how something needs to be done, which is if you are doing it in this gathering, like I think some of the best episodes is when we were talking about, what's going on in your personal lives and marriage, whether we're discussing big questions or decisions we have to make, or how we think about different things versus just a specific targeted tactile issue.
So there is a completely different format, which is like, the Dubai bearded guy with like 5 girls and they sort of yap for like 1.5 hours. You've seen one of those kind of podcasts, right?
I don't know what
I have no
podcast
idea
you're
what you're
watching.
talking about.
I
I have no
seen
idea
those.
what you're talking about.
I've seen those where they just
But-
it just keeps going, right?
I don't think it's extreme. Like
It's
it's
what I
long,
describe as a stream
nonsensical
of
drivel
consciousness.
or
Okay. Yeah.
hyper-targeted 10 lessons for
Yeah.
founders. There's an
Yeah.
in-between space.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah. Mike, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, for me, I think sometimes we just didn't have enough content, and I think we tried to fit that we had to be like for 45 minutes. I think sometimes we could have come in and we could have just done something for
20 minutes instead.
10, 15, 20 minutes and just
Yeah.
been a bit more succinct about a specific topic. And then I think the other thing that I thought we could do better, but it comes back to our fear of being too opinionated, is quite often there were hot subjects that were going on that affected like Southeast Asia in particular, or just the VC ecosystem.
Yeah.
And we could never get ourselves organized enough. It always took us about 2 months after
Yeah.
we actually recorded
Yeah.
to actually be able to get something
Yeah.
online. So even if we did want to share our
It
opinions,
just died.
it was too
It
late.
passed.
So I think we had to kind of become better at, record, edit, post. We needed, but we never had, I think, because none of us had the urgency, because it was never a priority for
Or
anybody.
just get comfortable with remote, right? I think
Yeah.
that's another good point of feedback.
Again, because of
which
the
is-
social thing. What's the point
Yeah,
of doing
what's the
remote?
point?
involving
Yeah,
social?
yeah.
We learned a lot though.
We learned a
Have you
lot.
noticed that? I didn't realize that was like the treadmill, right? So by doing it, which is again, like if you're a founder, just don't talk about it, just do it. And that was the whole point of the podcast. If you want to
Yes.
learn how to do a podcast, just do it.
I can definitely talk more about two people about, if you're doing a podcast, these are some of the
Yeah.
things that work. These are some things that don't
Yeah.
work. And I must admit, I am surprised the width of our listenership. So I've met people in Europe who've had, oh, Michael, I heard your podcast. And I'm like, how the hell did you hear about the podcast? As you know, I didn't really push it out, on LinkedIn. I think I posted about 5 episodes.
Yeah.
I was upset when we kind of started talking about finishing it. And I was like, I didn't want it to finish, but actually thinking about it, it's probably the right time to actually do it. And when we talk to founders, sometimes you've got to know when you've run your course. And if we kind of take it to that journey, is that none of us, we talked about this, wanted to turn it into a professional podcast, turn this into something more. We always kind of felt we just wanted to do a bit of fun. I think we've run our course, and we'll have to find another way of channeling our kind of time together and use it in a different way. Now, is that going to be starting a band or starting a cooking show or doing a Spartan race? I don't know what it is, but hey, it's something. I mean, look, the only time I get a free pass from my wife, and I know here and you're the same, is if I say, oh, I'm meeting up with Vishal and
Actually, we should
Ian.
just not tell our wives.
And she was like,
let's just tell our wives this keeps going, right?
I know.
Although they might actually listen to this episode. in which
I've
case.
noticed that I am the perpetual alibi for a lot of friends,
Yeah.
whether it's to my knowledge or not.
Okay, so what's the future? What are you gonna do? Like media presence? What's next? for
Kian, I know you've
everybody?
got a lot in your mind, so why don't you start us off with this one?
No,
Come on.
I'm interested
What's
to
next?
hear what you have to say. If you don't have this podcast, are you going to do podcasts with other people? What are you going to do?
Maybe. I haven't really thought about it in that degree of depth, but I know a few things for certain. The first is we're going to continue to hang out with each other, whether we have mics around or not. So that nature of our friendship hopefully is not going to change, and we find ways to do that. For myself, I mean, people who know me well know that I live a life between different cities and pretty globally. So I'm going to try and find a way to integrate that into whatever it is I do in a more holistic way. I have interests like that range from longevity to space to AI. It's broader than just Southeast Asia. So I would love to be able to speak with, meet, talk to, and explore ideas about that wide range of things, right? And not just limited to our own, to where we live right now in Southeast Asia.
I think for me, I've enjoyed doing podcasts, and I do a few more guest ones, but it's not something that I'm personally going to look at.
Yeah.
But I think writing posts, like doing more stuff on LinkedIn, sharing my opinion more, I definitely am I've kind of committed to writing one post every week, kind of going forward, just sharing my opinions, my thoughts. And I'm now getting better at actually taking the comments on board that I'm getting and actually responding to them.
Awesome.
Because quite often I would say at the beginning, I was taking a bit more like a personal attack if somebody actually disagreed with me or misunderstood me. And it's very easy to say, well, you fucking, but now it's actually, it's now you can debate a bit. And I actually I find it as a medium out there. And I get a lot of feedback from founders saying they find it useful, just to know what somebody is thinking and kind of sharing in a very simple format.
Just to add on to that, I feel definitely writing sharpens the mind in such a significantly different way. And it's not ChatGPT writing, it's like writing, like what you really think about something. And honing that and doubling down on that, I think, is a very worthy use of time. To add on to your question, would I continue to do podcasts? I'm actually not sure it'll be even in a podcast kind of format. I think I've been enjoying, I don't know about the two of you, but I've been enjoying tinkering with the host of agentic tools that are now available for all sorts of different uses and purposes. And it's just been fun to have more time to really mess around with that and really get back into building things and building mini products and understanding and experimenting with AI. I'm doing it myself. We're doing it across I know friends that are doing it, family. Our firm is very deeply invested and in it personally as people and upskilling them using all of that stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what the future of this format looks like, but it's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about you? And we have a brief idea of it, but you got to share.
What do you think I'm going to do?
I don't know. I think that you need to reach the top of your pyramid of self-actualization of narcissism and megalomaniacness.
By definition, I'm not a narcissist because I'm able to actually get ribbed by you guys and not triggered.
Kidding.
That was the whole point of this whole thing.
Kidding. But what do I think you're going to do next? You can't ask me that question because I know what you're going to be doing next.
Yeah.
So I can't answer. It's for you to answer.
Actually, I thought about it. If we're ever going to do it again or come back, I would do it like the way we do it in television, which is to have a season. Can you imagine if you had 8 interesting human beings, right? The Mr. Coles of the world and a few other people. And you just drop a season. There's no pressure to actually do it. So I would do a season.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Right?
That is that
time
definitely.
limited.
Yeah.
You know
A
what
season
you're
of 7
getting
people,
into.
and you drop it on YouTube. There's a 7.
Freaking love that.
Think about it. That's what
I
we used
love
to do
that.
on television.
I'm in.
All right, that's one.
I'm in. Count me in.
And the second thing is, I like to talk a lot. So
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were he was the quiet one on the.
I've done a few other podcasts. I did one with Max Chernoff, and the Max one is pretty crazy because I haven't told anybody about it. We're about over 100,000 views, and it's a much easier way to just talk about your perspective and stuff like that. So probably we'll do a few more guest stuff because one of the things that I believe very deeply in is we need more people who are prepared to be entrepreneurs. And it's hard because when you do an entrepreneurial thing, or more specifically, if you're trying to disrupt an industry, by definition, it's a real uphill task. We've talked about this, right? No one on the internet or out there, I feel, has really encapsulated what are the characteristics of the things that you need to be an entrepreneur. And so I've come up with this concept and I'm writing the book. The book's called The Unreasonable Mindset. So that's the thing. And I didn't know if I told you, I've already finished it.
Yeah.
Yes, you told us.
You told us, yeah.
And I didn't tell you that I've actually passed it to the publisher.
You told us that.
You told us that, yeah.
And I didn't tell you that the publisher's looking at it.
I guess, I hope they're looking at it since you passed it to them.
Yeah. And I just got feedback from one who says, Like, yeah, it seems to be that there's something original and insightful in there. So if 2026 is the year I actually drop a book, that would be pretty cool because it's always been something I wanted to do.
It's been on your bucket list.
It's been on my bucket
I'm
list.
very excited you got this done because you've been talking about it for a long time, and you sat down and over the course of in light speed time wrote the damn thing out and got in front of publishers.
I use ChatGPT.
Don't tell people that. Okay, all right.
Think about it, right? The book is called The Unreasonable Mindset. And it would be unreasonable if you didn't use AI to write the book. By definition, you have to tell people that you use AI tools to write the book because it is a disruptive technology.
I think there's a 50-50 chance that Hien's going to reflect on this tomorrow and say, please strike that part out of the episode.
And I think that's the whole thing.
Well, I think as long as he's got his opinions. I mean, this is the thing is that
but you
if you
don't
just
know.
asked...
If you don't know.
So I need to refine that idea because I was addressing a bunch of young next generation human beings, people in their 20s. And someone says something like, what do you think about AI in the educational context? Is it cheating? And I just said unequivocally, if you're not using AI to do everything in your life, including researching your essays and doing all that, you're screwing up because this is the technology.
I appreciate my mom's a lecturer in university at a couple of universities in Singapore. And one of the most incredible things about her is that right from the time that ChatGPT launched in late 2022, from early 2023, ahead of the schools that she was affiliated with and all of the students and professors, she was already telling students, well, I guess this is going to be a part of how you're going to live, so we might as well understand how you're going to use this and still use it responsibly.
And yet, how many educators are going and saying, if you use ChatGPT, if you use AI, it's a bad thing. Yeah. I used it for the book. I think the question and by the way, I was going to use somebody to help me as a co-writer. She just reached out and said, no, she's like a professional writer, right?
And she uses AI to do her co-writing.
She wrote to me yesterday and she said, I was talking to other writers and I heard that a lot of people are using AI to write it. And you told me that you were going to try and use AI to write it. Have you used it? Can you tell me how you do it? And I just told her. So even her construct is changing. Because when I first told her I was going to do it...
She's kind of out of a job if you think about it.
This is very true, right? Which is kind of like what's happening.
Disintermediated out of this thing.
She's going to charge 10 times less, but she will have to find 10 more clients.
That's it.
Because this is really true. And this is why she just came out. Because the first
But you're also going to have the point of there's going to be 10 times more books out there that you're competing with.
I was just going to... And have you not noticed that the quality of written content seems to be...
It's terrible.
The signal-noise ratio is going up.
It's very high.
So I told her, I said, yes, I use it. And to be very transparent, I use two things. I use ChatGPT and I use Claude. When you come up with an idea, one of the stories I tell in the book is the story about how Intel said no to Apple in 2005 when Apple asked them to make the iPhone chip. And the research, the speed at which you could like piece together the whole story, the chronology of the story, did I get this right, is incredible. So what would have taken me, I don't know, like a week's worth of research.
And you're going through source materials. Flagging pages and working with a researcher.
And also, by the way, it's all archived in Claude. Yeah. So when finally the book gets out there, and the publisher has to source check, you can just pull it out, right? And then you can make sure that, and if when they're fact checking your book, they can use AI.
Amazing.
But the idea still has to be unique. The story still has to be unique. The perspective and the learning still has to be unique. The pace in which you can tell the story and piece it together is up by 100x.
You want to write a book?
No, so you should write a book because the second thing you do...
sit down.
We'll
do it this evening.
You should totally write... You should
send it to Hien's publisher tomorrow morning.
Exactly.
Done.
Guys, it was great. I'm not going to tell you the rest of
it the reasonable
Well, that's great. Well, I'm not going to tell you how I wrote the rest of the book. But yeah, then the other thing is you use ChatGPT and the tone of voice and stuff like that. And you get to a large number of words very quickly. But ultimately, you still have to go through it again. And what is enjoyable, I think, and you'll understand this, is the reason why a lot of written content now seems very
banal,
of a certain flavor, like it's either chocolate or vanilla.
Right.
There's no pistachio, right? Is that AI is not good at eloquence.
Right.
And what was very enjoyable is when you get the draft, is going back through the draft and then adding the eloquence and actually just crafting it. So that's actually
Can I ask
very
a question?
enjoyable.
I want to ask a question. I know
Yeah.
we're not supposed. This is not a rabbit hole we want to go down, but that's an
Why not?
interesting
2
observation.
hours.
When you say it's not good at eloquence, do you mean it is not good at persuasive storytelling, and you have to add the persuasiveness and the enjoyment of reading something by certain words, phrases, anecdotes?
ChatGPT can be very eloquent when you read back.
Okay.
They do have, they're very good at
Right.
the soundbitey thing.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not quite your tone of voice.
Mm.
And so what I
Personality.
yeah, personality.
Personality.
So I'm going to change. It's not eloquent, but it's just that the way you phrase it, the way. And I've tried, right? I put like my previous docs and I put everything, and I say
Train it. You
say
train
it
it
Hien
that
style,
way.
and it does come sort of somewhat Hien.
Because saying it Hien style means, hey!
Yeah.
What's that?
What's up?
What's up?
Yeah.
Wait, now I'm sounding like someone else.
Everyone should go write a book now, okay? Because
I love
your
it.
ideas is there.
I love it.
Unreasonable to the heck.
Done.
One of the things I find is that if you don't have a solid opinion, if you don't have, and I think it just comes very generic. And if you look at a lot of the stuff that I'm reading now, new thinking is not really out there. It's a lot of regurgitation
Yeah.
of stuff or self-promotion.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff I kind of try and write is like more, I would say like the basic 101 stuff. And I'm trying to figure out how to do it in different languages to make it more relevant, because we're working in Southeast Asia and I deal with a lot
you
of
could do it in
like,
Thai. You could do it in like Vietnamese.
Vietnamese, because
Yeah.
a lot of times it gets lost in translation.
Oh, wow. You're right.
And what we think is very obvious and simple, I find quite often with founders is totally lost on them because they don't have the ecosystem to support them, or they're reading it in a second language, and there's always an element of lost in translation when you have that. So I'm looking at ways of actually doing it, because I've had a couple of my posts translated in another language, and I've asked somebody
The
who's
person, yeah.
to person to actually read it. A couple of times it's gone slightly
A different.
lost in translation is, I don't know a better way of actually putting it.
Right.
So when we talk to a lot of the founders, and I'm like, okay, this, you can always find this online. They're like, we don't understand it.
Interesting. Cool. Well, I'm excited for the new future of publishing for all of us, whatever platform, format, etc.
But if you want to do an 8-episode grilling famous human beings, we should totally do that.
I think we should do that. I think that sounds
so.
fun.
We're not killing the.
So Felicia and I had a bet that this is maybe this may not
clickbait?
likely be
No,
the
it's
last
not a
episode.
clickbait. We're not doing this. I'm telling you now, we're not doing it.
No, but
Or are
we could draw.
No,
it
no,
as
I
I wouldn't
as
even
an
call it.
addendum.
Don't call it.
It's a
pivot.
mini series,
It's
like it's
evolution.
like evolution.
Evolving.
Would it still be?
I
under
really don't want to do this,
unreasonable?
but after doing this episode, I really kind of feel like, oh gosh, yeah, actually, it's not bad as shit. We should totally fucking do that. Oh,
So
no.
can I just say something? And Felicia, can you please correct me if I'm wrong? As I was driving over here, I told Felicia, I think that there is like a 9 out of 10 chance that as we're recording this episode, Hien's going to say, oh, I don't know why this has to be the last episode. Maybe we're going to do some more. And that's literally exactly what
Is
you're
it like
doing
the
right
Wolf
now.
of Wall Street moment? I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not leaving.
I feel like I know you way too well.
We've done the
Freaking
settlement
funny.
with the SEC. You guys, was it?
Well, let's put it this way. This is the last episode in this format.
Cool.
We might come and we might try other ways of doing it.
Somebody send us messages if you really want to do this.
And look, there's like a 50% chance that between Hien and Michael, this episode itself gets cancelled and it never makes it to the air. So hey,
I've never
you would
cancelled.
not even know the wiser.
I have never cancelled an
That's true.
episode.
we didn't
That's
comment
true.
about your Ferrari.
That's
we didn't
true.
comment about your love life. We didn't comment about your hair. It's gonna be good.
I don't think we ever cut out that stuff though. That's not the stuff that gets cut out.
Oh,
Is
please.
it? Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, please. So I hope that explains why, number one, we haven't done this for a while, and we will go and find something else to do. If you actually have watched this for the 25 episodes, thank you very much.
Appreciate
This is
it.
the Unreasonable Podcast crew signing off.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We owe a huge amount of thanks to like other people involved. It's not
Yes.
just the three of us. So huge thanks to Felicia who's sitting over here. She's part of the 500 team and she's just been spending her free time shepherding us in this podcast. Freddie, who's on Hien's team at Open Space, and he's also been spending a lot of his free time just basically working through the episodes and making sure we sound good on air. And of course to the Podster team that's been hosting us over here now for the last countless episodes. So
Yeah.
thank you to everyone.
Yeah, very much appreciate it. Thank you.